Just kidding, there's nothing in there. Hey, what's up guys? Today's video is I am doing 5 tips for getting started with weight loss. So as you know, me and Amy have been journeying through a weight loss transformation, and we've been almost 3 months. We're almost at 3 months, right? Yeah, no, we're past 3 months. We're almost 4 months, I think. Yeah, we just finished week 15. So 2 more weeks and we'll be through 4 months, which is crazy. So I just wanted to give some pretty practical tips about losing weight and like kind of starting losing weight or whatever it may be. I know a lot of people struggle with this and they have a hard time. Honestly, it can be really difficult sometimes, and other times it can be really easy. So let's get right into it. First tip is be mentally ready. So for me, I don't know how many times I started to diet and then 2 weeks later I gave up, or 2 weeks later I made an excuse for myself about, oh, we're having a special dinner or whatever it is. And so for me, I really had to be in it 100% mentally ready to do it. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing it right now. So I had to come to the point where I was like, yeah, it's time. And I had to really kind of get there myself mentally, because most of losing weight is not the practical things that you do, cooking differently or eating different. Like, yeah, those things are, you know, a big part of it, but you don't do those things without choosing to do those things. And so you really have to be mentally ready in order to say, you know, I'm ready for this change. I'm ready to fully commit to this, because it's really hard to do. So I really suggest to just completely be mentally ready. If you keep telling yourself, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then you never do it, you need to kind of push yourself over the edge by saying, really committing and saying, like, I'm gonna do this, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start. So be mentally ready. It is, I would say, for this diet, for me, especially for the keto diet, it's like 90% mentality, 10%, you know, practical things like the actual diet part. So yeah, so just be mentally ready and make sure that you are 100% committed, or else you're not, you're gonna fail. Like, I failed so many times by saying like, oh, I'll start Monday, right? I'll start Monday, or for me it's always Tuesday. I'll start Tuesday. And then I finally, you know, we made the commitment to do it, and I have stuck with it, and I'm really proud of myself for doing it. I'm almost down 60 pounds, which is great. So pretty cool. Number 2, make sure you have a plan. Don't just jump into the diet and then wing it. There's been a couple days where I'm like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do for food. I didn't really meal plan, and it always ends in a disaster where I'm hungry, I didn't get enough to eat, or I just did not like my dinner. So so make sure you have a plan. Now that might mean that you sit down and actually plan out meals. You might prep first, or you might, you know, write a whole list. Like, growing up, my mom would always write a grocery list and a whole meal plan for like Monday we're doing this, Tuesday we're doing this. I don't quite do that for this diet. It's more of like, I have meals and I just sort of pick whatever I want for the day. Or yeah, so like if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have tacos, you know, tacos, or you know, beanless chili, or like, you know, a pizza on a tortilla shell. Like, I'll make all those things. I'll just, whatever I feel like that day, I'll have. So I'm not really 100%, that's my plan in my head. I know that works for me. And so, but a lot of people need to write everything down and just make sure, especially if you're doing like something like Weight Watchers. For Amy, she has to write everything down. And now that doesn't mean you can't be flexible, but I would say don't go into a week of, if you're starting a diet, and you go immediately into, hey, I'm starting a diet Monday, I'll go grocery shopping on Monday. That's never a good idea. So so make sure you have a plan. You meal plan. And now for a lot of people, when they go on diets, they go and do extravagant things. They go and they write down all these new recipes. They go crazy grocery shopping with, like, you know, 5 or 6 brand new things they've never eaten before, they've never tried, they've never cooked it before. And I would say that's not probably the best thing to do, because if you go into that, that's exhausting. So for me and for Amy, we started very slowly, and we did meals that we already know that we liked, and then we added from that. So like, so far on the keto diet, I've mostly stuck in with the same couple of meals, which is fine. But I've branched out a couple times where I did like a cheese soup one time, and it wasn't necessarily the best thing I've ever had, but at least it was something different, and I tried it out. But I think I did that like a month in. And so I really recommend that you know, when you have a plan that it involves food that you already like, but just a lighter, healthier version of whatever it is, whether it be mac and cheese or spaghetti or, you know, like things like that, you can always make those things healthy. And yeah, and I suggest that that's how you do it. Because if you eat stuff that you don't really like, or you're cooking something that you don't know if you like and it's a disaster, you might be more tempted to eat something that you do like that's not necessarily good for you to make yourself feel better. So yeah, so make sure you have a plan going, you know, stick with the plan. Yeah, definitely make sure it's those sort of things that you already like, because otherwise it might be a lot harder for you. And part of it is, I think that's part of the reason why we always fail too, is we always made it too complicated. So tip 3, speaking of grocery shopping, never go to the grocery store hungry. If you go to the grocery store hungry before you even started your diet, you're gonna buy a bunch of stuff, and then you're gonna use the excuse of, which I've used in the past, hey, I have this box of cereal I need to finish before I can start my diet. And so that's like a big thing that is really, I think, hard for a lot of people. And so if you go to the grocery store and you're already full, that way when you start your week of dieting for the first time, that you're already like, you're just focused on what you need to get there, not necessarily the food that sounds good because you're hungry. So yeah, and I would just say in general, never go to the grocery store hungry, because I don't know how many times I bought some weird stuff that sounded good and then I never ate it. It just sat in the freezer or sat in the fridge because it sounded good at the time because I was hungry, and then I just didn't cook it. So it's a third tip. Yeah, and it's really, going to the grocery store can be really hard, especially for me. I see things, especially when you walk in. So like our Albertsons, you walk in and immediately you walk into the bakery, and just every day I go in there, there's like a wave of like delicious bread and delicious cookies and all the things that they're baking. It's so hard. And so sometimes I go through the other, oh, there's only one entrance. Yeah, I guess I don't go in the other entrance. If I had a choice, I'd go in another entrance. Maybe they let me through the back, I don't know. But I don't, yeah, it's hard. You walk through the bakery and it's just smell of bread, and I probably, of all the things that I miss, it's definitely bread. So yes, so make sure you don't go grocery shopping hungry. Tip 4, and this is really pretty deep one, but stop putting it off. I know a lot of times I made excuses as to why I didn't want to start dieting. Stop putting it off. Health and fitness and stuff, like, for the most part, take baby steps too. For us, we really had to sort of slowly build into, you know, we took a week and just dieted before we started exercising, because if you put all that pressure on yourself at once, you're gonna collapse like a dying star. And so for me, it was really important that we sort of did these baby step things. That means, hey, start the diet. That's all you need to do. Start the diet. Next week you can start exercising, and when you start exercising, don't overdo it. Just do something small that you're not normally doing. If that means you're walking for 15 minutes, walk for 15 minutes. If that means you're lifting weights for 10 minutes, lift your weights for 10 minutes. That's all you got to do, is just slowly build into those things, because that's how you can be successful. Because otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure by putting all of these pressures on you. Like, I'm going to start this diet, I'm going to eat super duper healthy, I'm going to cook all these new recipes, I'm going to exercise every day, you know, for an hour, I'm going to lift weights for an hour, I'm going to do all these things, like, and then all of a sudden you're not doing any of it. And so just start slowly, because that's all you need to do, and then build your way into those things once you get to a comfortable level where you're in a routine of eating, you know, the sort of healthier foods, and then you jump into exercising, and then you can slowly build up to like more intense exercises, because you don't have to jump in and run a 16-mile marathon. Like, you just have to do something. And so we started with like a 15-minute video on YouTube and just, you know, did that for a really long time, and then we sort of bumped it up to a different video, and then went back to the old video, and like we just moved around so that we at least we're doing something. And it's really shown in a lot of ways, especially in Amy, like lifting weights, and she's gotten stronger and that kind of stuff. So it's been fun. So yeah, stop putting it off. Make sure that you really just do the baby steps, and yeah, that's really all it is. It's just you know, it's a mental game, and you got to start slow. And my last tip is the same as the first one, because it is really important. You have to be committed and be mentally ready to do this. Dieting is not easy sometimes. For some people it is incredibly hard. For me, it was, you know, it's just right now I'm really mentally in this. I've completely 100% checked in, and I feel like that's why I haven't really struggled that much. There's some days where I might struggle. There was a couple weeks ago, there was a very specific day where I was like, I just want to cheat so bad. But I think we might have been up in Washington, and it might have been because it's just one of those things. You got to put yourself in these situations that allow you to succeed, and that was something for us that it was hard to be on the road. When we were with family and that kind of stuff, it was way easy. You know, I was able to eat the foods that I needed to eat, and so was Amy. But like driving was so hard because I got bored and I wanted to eat chips, and I knew of a couple of restaurants that I wanted to go to on the road that we had gone on our road trip, like the Texas Roadhouse and that kind of stuff. And so, but I can't do that. And so I was trying to find excuses to do that, and I was really trying to make it work, but it was not a good idea. And so, you really have to be mentally ready in order to start a diet. And it is definitely 100. Like, I really believe it's mostly mental. Because when you're like figuring out healthy things and like really looking at like your own health and like prioritizing that, it's really important, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. And so when you're thinking about, oh, I need to prioritize this because of, you know, whatever XY reason, you know, that you have for health, sometimes that just doesn't work, because once you get, like, let's say you go to the doctor and you find out you have high blood pressure, and the doctor's like, yeah, lose 30 pounds and it'll help. You get home immediately, you start stressed out about it, and it just doesn't work out, and you don't care anymore, and you just take the pills. For you to like push through that is really hard, and mentally it is one of those things that you really have to be committed and 100% ready. So if you're not ready to start a diet, don't start a diet until you're ready. And if you were trying to figure out how can I get ready, what helped me is looking at old videos and photos of myself, especially on the road trip. When we took that road trip, the 3-week road trip, when we went to Disney World and like all across the country, which was really fun and a super amazing experience. But man, when we came home and I was looking through those videos, like editing them, putting them up on YouTube, it was hard, because I was looking at myself and I was like, man, I really need to lose some weight, because I did not look so good. And so I think that really helped me. That kind of motivated me, and the fact that Amy and wanted to do it too, it was sort of, that was the choice. It was kind of an easy choice for me, where I don't have a lot of things wrong with me physically. I don't have high blood pressure, I don't have diabetes, I don't have any of the things that sort of like somebody at my weight should have at least been pre-diabetic, and at least should have been, you know, a little bit higher blood pressure. My blood pressure was almost always perfect when I went to the doctor, and so I always had a hard time with like, well, you know, right now I'm fine, but I know that if I would have kept that up in a, you know, couple short years, it would have been the opposite, where I might have had extremely high blood pressure. And so I actually had an interesting wake-up call a couple months before we went on the road trip, and I went to the eye doctor, and they have these wrist, they take your blood pressure at eye doctor now, which is weird. I didn't even know they did that, but they have these blood pressure things that they put on your wrist now, and I had my hand like way down, which I guess you're not supposed to do, but I mean, I don't, anyways. So they have this thing, and they put it on your, and then, so like, it was 180 over something, which is like hypertension, you're gonna die. And so I freaked out, and I came back home, and I was like, I think I have extremely high blood pressure, and I went to the urgent care because I didn't know what to do, because it was so high that it was like scaring me and Amy. And so the doctor took my blood pressure, and it was normal. And she's like, well, the cuffs aren't 100% accurate, and if your arm was really far down, then, you know, that would be the reason why. But it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, maybe I should start losing weight. But then it didn't really hit me until after our road trip, and that was sort of the moment where I was like, yeah, you know, I've had a couple of bumps in the road where I freaked out a little bit over things, and so it was really important to me that I was mentally ready to start this, and so that was what pushed me over the edge. Is I had a couple of things happen, and then it kind of built up, and then boom. And I don't want to do this because it was too late, right? I don't want to be like, well, I lost 30 pounds, and the doctor says things are gonna get worse though because I wasn't, you know, doing things in time. And so I know for me, I have, you know, family that live for a long time. I have both my grandparents are still alive, and they're both 89 years old, and so I know that longevity is in my family, and so I want to keep it that way by being healthier, so that way I can enjoy a long life with Amy and with our future kids and our grandkids and all that sort of stuff. And so it's very important to me to lose the weight. So so anyways, thanks for joining me. Just make sure you're mentally ready before you start a diet, because it's important. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and if you're new, hit the subscribe. By the way, the contest for the gift card for the 300 subscriber giveaway, I forgot to mention that it ends Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And so that's just because that's usually when videos go up, is around 10. This video is going to be late though, because we had a lot of things going on, and Amy's still super sick, so that's why she's not with me today. But so 10 a.m. Pacific is when that ends. If you haven't seen that video yet, check it out, because it is we're giving away a $25 gift card for Disney. It's just like one of those e-gift cards, and so we'd love to have somebody win it. We just wanted to thank our subscribers for just being really encouraging through this, and it's really important to us. The encouragement definitely helps, especially when we're having harder days, to be like, okay, we have this thing we're doing, and it's important, and it's keeping us in line, so we appreciate it. Well, thanks for being with me. Once again, if you like the video, give us a like. Please subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.